Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Just on my way home. Picked up some groceries. Got tomorrow off, so tonight's gonna be a nice, relaxing day. I don't get to go anywhere or do anything like most people, right? I think I'm saying I'm so tired of it. Okay, so let's jump right into it, because the big news for me is that Justin Trudeau officially comes out against a basic income. Let's be specific. He's not saying this is a thing that will never happen. His exact wording, or the headline of the piece, is Justin Trudeau sees no path for a basic income. It's like the softest FU in the world, right? Let's be really clear about this. It's complete nonsense to say that there's no path for a basic income. Why do we know that? Because they passed a basic income. They passed a basic income that's what the CERB was. Right? They did it very quickly. We know that they can do it in less than a week. We know that they have the political will to do it. We know that they have the ability to do it. They just don't want to. And so now it's time for us to actually speak very honestly and frankly about what's happening here. Okay, so thing number one, it's completely worth bringing up. The basic income is cheaper than the poverty alleviation strategies that we're doing now, as well as dealing with the negative consequences of poverty. The Stephen Harper administration actually proved this to be the case with the passage of the child care benefit. We studied the child care benefit. Not only is it cheaper to deal with child poverty through direct transfer payments, it is more effective and also boosts economic activity and economic growth by a factor of 2. So not only does the policy pay for itself, it also adds an economic benefit, an economic boost. It's very similar to transit spending. Every dollar you spend on transit, you get $4 back for very simple reasons, right? If you have more transit, people can move around more freely. Businesses are attracted to areas that have more transit. You'd like to build your business on a transit line, wouldn't you? Right? If there was no transit line, would you like to build a business there? It's very simple thinking, very easy and straightforward. And the exact same thing works with a basic income, right? If you give $1 to a poor person, they're going to spend it on their economy, likely their local economy. If you give $1 to a billionaire, they're going to put it in their pocket and then ask for another $1. Because billionaires are fundamentally, structurally worthless. They're essentially parasites. They offer no value to the society, and they are the people that Justin Trudeau is siding with, without a question. It's really obvious that this is the case because the CERB was passed in sort of hasty measure. It was passed quickly as an emergency measure, and of course it was passed because it was completely effective and worked in totality. It worked 100%. It was completely effective. But it was passed with haste because the wealthy were scared for themselves, right? They didn't know what this virus was. They were worried that they would get it for themselves. And so this basic income in the CERB was passed and effectively worked and completed its objectives 100%. It hasn't been done again, even though we are literally triple the numbers that we were at the time, because the wealthy are no longer afraid for themselves. They have their protections, they've separated themselves, so everyone else can go die, and that's completely fine by them. And we need to be like, this is how we need to be speaking about these people. Like, we're not having a minor disagreement now, okay? We're having an objective, reality. We know that the basic income is cheaper, that's objectively the fact. We know that it is objectively effective, that's just the fact. We're literally having a disagreement on the same level as, is the earth round or is the earth flat? And the billionaire class and Justin Trudeau, of course, are arguing that the earth is flat. And we need to go at them with the same level of scorn. And of course, the major difference being is that flat earthers aren't dangerous. The billionaire class is extremely dangerous. And they are leading us to a path of our own destruction and death. And if we just continue going along with them and continue bobbling our head, continue voting liberal, then we're just going to walk into a forest fire that's just going to take us out, and then scratch our head and be like, I wonder what happened. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to reading in my old age the retrospectives from the apologists and the idiots being like, what possibly could have happened? while the rest of us are going, what the fuck are you talking about, you dumb idiot? That's assuming we'll all survive. So Justin Trudeau comes out against a basic income, the most effective way to alleviate poverty. And it's for a very clear reason. Let's be straight. We live in a wage slave economy, right? That's what I call it. That's what it should be called. Anytime anybody says, we need to defend the economy, what they're actually saying is we need to defend the wealth of billionaires, which we don't. We don't at all. Billionaires are worthless. They provide no value. They could disappear from the society in this moment, and no one would miss them. No one would even notice that they were gone, except for the fact that the society would improve greatly without them. They're completely unnecessary, help us with nothing, and literally threaten our very lives. And once the climate change disaster unfolds in front of us, this is exactly how they're going to act if we allow them. If we continue voting Liberal, this is exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be the same story, right? So the wage slave economy that we're under now, where if you don't participate in selling yourself to a billionaire class who are sociopaths, without a question, you will die, right? You will die of starvation. You will be homeless. You will be thrown out onto the street. You can just see, like, you think those homeless people are just voluntarily living on the street? You think that they have volunteered to just be homeless, wandering the street like they do? Or do you think it's that they've been abandoned by the society? A society that shrugs and goes, yeah, we could effectively wipe this out. It would be cheaper for us to do. And this is what's super key to remember, is that the Liberals are actively deciding to pay more to keep people desperate and poor and attached to a capitalist system that's actively attempting to betray them. There's no other argument, right? The other argument is just like outrageous delusion at this point. It's literally flat eartherism on a scale that we can't even understand. Like, the Liberals are not using facts. The Liberals are not using reason. They are attaching themselves to an ideological death cult that is seeking to impoverish all people and collapse the society back into an era of neo-feudalism in order to ensure that once that collapse occurs, that they're one of the wealthy, they're one of the kings and the princes, right? Because they don't care about freedom or democracy or any of this kind of stuff. They care about money for themselves. And we shouldn't think about it in any other way. And the people who have allied themselves to these sociopaths should be expelled from our political system. And we shouldn't even think about it anymore, right? The popular support, like the fact that the Liberals have this, 40% popular support right now is an embarrassment. It's a complete and total embarrassment. They literally want people to be poor. They want people to be desperate. They want people to be existing in this state of subjugation where they have to adhere themselves mindlessly to a system that is structured to destroy them, right? Climate change is going to come and wipe us out. It's just not a debate anymore, right? Unless you're an idiot, then it's a debate. You can have a debate all you want, all the way down to the grave. So, what do we do about it? I say completely stop communicating with Liberals. Like, just stop. It's no longer worth the effort, right? It's like you're talking to somebody who insists the world is flat, who believes completely and implicitly that the world is flat, and there's no evidence, there's no facts that you can put forward. You can have the conversation with them out of amusement for yourself, right? Which I've done that with flat earthers. I've had those conversations to be like, okay, let's actually hear what you have to say and maybe put forward some ideas and all this kind of stuff out of amusement for myself. But I've never, like, have you ever even met a person who was a flat earther and now isn't, right? Do you hear stories about people who are flat earthers and then they're not? Because to concede such an important intellectual point, right, is something that, like, you haven't actually thought about it. You haven't actually put any effort into it. And the Liberals are the exact same way, right? They understand that all they understand is that the people who are ensuring that they will be part of the nobility or the noble class that arises out of this coming collapse should be placated. So it doesn't matter what's real or what's fake. What matters is what the billionaire class wants, right? If the billionaires say there shall be no basic income, then there won't be, right? It doesn't matter that the Senate has said that we should have a basic income. It doesn't matter that Chamber of Commerce has said we should have a basic income. It doesn't matter that the food banks of Canada have said so. It doesn't matter that the Ontario doctors have said so. It doesn't matter that 75% of the populace thinks we should have it. It doesn't matter how many people in what positions stand up and say we need to have a basic income, because 5 people don't want it, right? And those 5 people turn to their surrogates, who are the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party, and they say, if you do this, people will have freedom. And we don't want that, because they will have freedom away from us. They will be able to make decisions independent of us, and that can't be tolerated to the capitalist class. Because the capitalist class is it's a slave system. It was built on slavery, it was built on genocide. And sure, they freed the chattel slaves after they fought a war over it, and lost. But they maintained the system of wage slavery that we currently live under, and the Liberal Party wants to keep it that way. I think that they're repugnant and disgusting people, because they actively lie to you every single day. They actively know that these things work, and they're choosing to side with a group of people who are profiting off of your destruction. Like during this COVID crisis, the billionaire class has made like 100% more extra capital, while people are closing their businesses and being evicted, right? We're no longer dealing with rational people, right? We're dealing with people who have made a choice to be irrational in order to ensure that when they are out of office, they are well taken care of by their rulers. We should, like, genuinely, when people say to me now, like, oh, I got to vote Liberal because if I don't vote Liberal and the Conservative gets in, my position really is, what's the fucking difference, right? Like, oh, the Trudeau Liberals will say that they're in favor of diversity, whereas the Conservatives remain silent on it. But when the Conservatives get in power, they don't action any of that, right? They don't actually move on any of these diversity issues. And in fact, when the Conservatives get in, they're actually better on poverty. They've done more to alleviate poverty than the Liberals have. They've done more to actually help. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about when you say that the Conservatives are worse than the Liberals. Like, I think you're actually out to lunch. I think you're not paying attention. I think that you are just rolling through on a propaganda that is actually put forward by both the Conservatives and the Liberals. The Conservatives want you to believe that they are worse than the Liberals, right? Because the Liberals and the Conservatives work together. They hand the ball back and forward together. And this myth that, oh, well, the Conservatives will somehow be worse. Stephen Harper was a better Prime Minister than Justin Trudeau ever was. By 100%, and I'm actually staunchly against the Conservatives. You can go back and listen to some of my videos to see my raw opinion on the Conservative Party. But Stephen Harper is a better Prime Minister than Justin Trudeau ever was, by hands and fists, like way, way, way above Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau is just a lame duck. He reads off a script, right? He's given a script by the oil industry, or he's given a script by the billionaire class, and he just reads it and then he goes to brunch. Right, and he's not interested in ruling. That's why somebody like Chrystia Freeland is actually more important, because she actually does things, whereas Justin Trudeau is just a haircut. He's just a haircut and a beard, right, and some white face painted over the black face that he's actually got underneath in his heart. Okay, I could keep going, but I actually want to post this video on Instagram. So abandon the Liberals. There's no reason whatsoever to vote for them. Worst case scenario, we get the Conservatives, who, in my opinion, are better. The Trudeau Liberals are a complete flop. They'll lie to you at every turn. They'll be like, yeah, diversity, and then do nothing to action it. Do nothing to actually help anybody. If they were actually interested in helping, they would have passed a basic income when they rolled out the CERB. That was their moment. Now they've got their leader actually standing up and saying that they're not going to do anything about it. We should get rid of these idiots, right? Their support should be about 0%. But I say that about the Conservatives too, but here we are. Okay, guys, I love you all. Good luck out there. Goddamn, are we ever going to need it? The fight is upon us.